So as you know, the summer is nearly gone. It's hard to believe, but it's not gone yet. But the thing I'm talking about here, and I do feel this, to be totally honest with you, it's something I said a lot. I talked a lot and privately to people, and I said I hold back. I did say I hold back a while because we called it conspiracy theorist or whatever, for saying this. But it is likely we've seen them do before, locking down the whole country during the with basically the winter time, and basically nothing happening in the country. And obviously that caused a lot of stress for people, and particularly coming up to Christmas caused a lot of stress, caused a lot of mental health issues because it's not the sun. The sun brings out great life in people, great atmosphere in life. It brings out the goodness in people. In the dark, you will take for example when the evenings get dark at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, even 4 o'clock at some stages. Um, it doesn't. It's dark, dreary nights. It's long nights, and that doesn't bring any goodness out. It's just long, dreary nights. Especially when it's raining right and that, it can really put people's mood down. Compared to the sun, like take for example, everybody was very happy when the sun was out. You could go out and sun yourself and etc. 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 It was a lot of people enjoyed it, having the sun, and it did bring out a lot of happiness and a lot of goodness in society, which was great to see. But I'm afraid of another lockdown this winter. And again, as I said many times, lockdowns we all know it doesn't work. Again, scientists might say it works, but it doesn't work because it doesn't flatten any curve. Because there always, as one doctor said, there always will be another variant. There always will be more cases, no matter wherever you look. There always will be some new case somewhere, in a country, or in a nation or whatever. So they can never flatten the curve. The curve can never be flattened. In other words, um, and lockdowns achieve nothing at the end of the day. It really just achieves sadness and more sadness and more sadness and more sadness, and doesn't really affect the bigger issues that emerge. Like again, you're protecting against one thing, and there's other things coming up in the background. And again, we have seen this now. People waiting for cancer screening, waiting for cervical checks. We've seen all this. Huge backlogs, nearly 1 million people waiting in hospital waiting list. God knows when they could be seen. Um, and we've seen with mental health issues, people this like take for example, the amount of people, young people being referred to CAMS and to So Sad and to other mental health organisations. It's gone through the roof, and then to be totally honest, there's the amount of suicides too. It's gone through the roof too. They haven't taken records really. They've stopped doing that for some reason during, but they were recording COVID cases and COVID deaths, but they wouldn't record suicides. Again, that's something to see. There should be looked into why they didn't do that. Um, but we can't let them dark times come back, especially the dark winter, the evenings, and dark with the nights, long nights. We can't let that happen to our people again. That's just putting it straight. And that's just putting it straight. No matter what the government says or what they do, we have to put a stop to these lockdowns and civil stuff. We have to put a stop to it. People have put up with it for nearly a year. And I think we can't put up people through it. Again, we have to think about people's mental health. We think about people's social life. We have to think about everything. We have to think about people's health, other health apart from COVID. Either be cancer or lung cancer. Anything to do with the physical health. Loads of operations cancelled. We have to focus on that because there's probably more people dying from lack of treatment, from take for example cancer, and for other illnesses. They're not being treated, and some people are terrified to go to the hospitals, because the media have them terrified, and they're unfortunately dying at home, and they won't go to a doctor, won't see it. The doctors won't even see patients now, and that's been the case, and loads of people have been suffering. I've been suffering silently, because they were too afraid to go to a doctor, too afraid to go to the hospital, too afraid to reach out, and we have to put a stop to that. We have to put a stop to the fear in people, and that's just putting it straight. Because again, I'm sure people, if we took records of how many people said before they died that they wouldn't go to a hospital with an illness or they'd had a previous illness, we would be up in the thousands. It would be up in the thousands. It would be more probably than any COVID deaths in the country, ever in the Irish state. But anyway, That's all I wanted to say. But I just say we can't let that happen. We can't let that happen to our young people and to elderly citizens, locking them down again. We can't. We simply can't do that, no matter what the cost. The cost, because really at the end of the day, it comes to a point now where I'm sure you will agree, it didn't work the first time, didn't work the second time, didn't work the third line, the lockdowns. Why should it work the fourth time? It doesn't make sense. And again, there's no logic really behind it, because we all know they probably will, to protect the HSC or the NHS in England. They probably will say, we need to protect it every Christmas, every winter time with the flu and everything, that we need to protect it. From being overwhelmed or whatever with flu, with the farm of the bug or whatever comes back. Take for example. But anyway, thank you for watching. Take care, everybody, and be safe.